Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I guess I shouldn't say that because this is actually completely believable. The NCAA once again proves why they are the most useless institution in America. About a month ago, the NCAA, they made the bold decision to defer to USA Swimming when it came to the eligibility of Lia Thomas. In response, USA Swimming introduced stringent new requirements on dudes who identify as female and want to compete against women athletically. What is the world coming to? You know, when I was in college, I wanted to identify with women. I didn't want to be a woman. Nowadays, you've got these young men painting their fingernails, running around in dresses, pretending like they're a member of Destiny's Child, wearing pants so tight their ass can't breathe. What the hell's wrong with these kids? Anyway, when USA Swimming announced their new stringent guidelines for transgender athletes, essentially disqualifying Lia Thomas from competing, I told you guys the NCAA was going to step in and change their mind on this. See, what the NCAA was doing, they were trying to shift blame for allowing Lia Thomas to compete to USA Swimming. They wanted their hands clean of this entire situation. But once USA Swimming implemented strict standards, the NCAA knew they were going to take the heat from the virgin community, and they just couldn't have that. Instead of killing two birds with one stone, which would be keeping Lia Thomas from competing and pissing off social justice warriors at the same time, instead of doing that, the NCAA comes out earlier today and proves they have no balls, which I guess is fitting to this situation since Lia Thomas wants to get rid of her balls too. She has something in common with the NCAA. Earlier today, they announced that Lia Thomas would be allowed to compete against women the remainder of the season. She will get to go on to Atlanta, along with the gas-powered motor that she calls legs, and steal the NCAA championship from a woman who would have won it the right way. When this news was released, identifiers across the country jumped off their couches in celebration. This is a milestone for transgender athletes. People should be allowed to compete wherever they identify, no matter their gender. Our next step is allowing Skip Bayless to compete in the Westminster Dog Show. In the press release, where they tried to justify this bullshit, the NCAA said, "We decided implementing additional changes could have unfair and potentially detrimental impacts on our student athletes." What? Really? So let me get this straight. Allowing a man to compete against a woman athletically is a positive for your student athletes. That's a good thing. But not allowing Lia Thomas to compete could be detrimental. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Allowing Lia Thomas to compete is absolutely detrimental to every woman swimming at the NCAA level. It's damn sure detrimental to the women on the Penn swim team, who I'm going to get to in just a second. This decision alone should be the reason the NCAA is disbanded. Shut this organization down. They serve absolutely no purpose. If the people running the NCAA can't tell the difference between a man and a woman, then why the hell are they needed? What's next? Are we going to let dudes start playing women's basketball in college? If an 18-year-old young kid couldn't get a scholarship to Wake Forest on the men's team, are we going to give him a scholarship on the women's team instead? I know one positive outcome from that. Over time, with young men taking all the women's spots in basketball, it would completely get rid of the WNBA. But other than that, there is nothing positive about allowing dudes to take spots from women in basketball or other sports. You know what? Maybe men playing in the WNBA would be a good thing for the league. I mean, the ratings can't get any lower. Perhaps more people would watch if it were men scrubs playing instead of the scrubs they have now in the WNBA. Now, I'm just kidding to all my feminists out there. The women of the WNBA are not scrubs. They're just not entertaining. A group of over 300 student athletes came together. They wrote a letter to the NCAA showing their support of Lia Thomas, imploring the NCAA to allow Lia Thomas to compete. Please, NCAA, do not remove your head from your ass. Please keep it fully inserted in your rectum and allow Lia Thomas to compete. Clearly, the NCAA listened to the plea of the future graduates of Woke U. I did find a couple of things interesting about this letter. One, you know how many members of the Penn women's swim team signed this letter? You know, the women directly affected by Lia Thomas. You know how many of them signed this letter? 4. 4 out of 39. If you look at the signatures, there are actually 5 members listed from the women's swim team at Penn. Christy Edelson is the 5th, but she's not listed on the roster. Perhaps she signed this ridiculous letter and immediately quit the team in shame. I don't know. But number 2, look at this complete bullshit. There are very real documented threats to women's swimming, including rampant sexual abuse and an inequitable number of women's coaches. Interesting. Let's address threat number 1, rampant sexual abuse. You know what the court system does when someone is convicted or is a convicted pedophile? You know what the court system does to a convicted pedophile? They ban them from being around children. They can't live within so many miles of a school. They can't visit playgrounds. The courts don't punish pedophiles by putting them in the vicinity of children. You, sir, have been convicted. I hereby sentence you to 18 months as a school bus driver for elementary school children. What kind of fucking sense would that make? None. So if there's rampant sexual abuse in women swimming at the collegiate level, how is allowing young men in the female locker room a solution to that problem? And let's address the inequitable number of women's coaches. Now, I'm not familiar with the talent pool for swimming coaches, but if I had to guess, many of them are probably former swimmers. So tell me this. If you're allowing men to take spots from women on the swim team, how is that going to increase the number of women coaches? I don't know if you noticed, but the last sentence of that letter read, "We will not be silenced while members of our swim community are unfairly targeted by discriminatory policies." How is Lia Thomas being discriminated against? She was already a member of the swim team, the men's swim team. No one stopped her from doing that. The only people being discriminated against are the actual women. Where are the feminists? Where are the social justice warriors? Where is girl power? Where the hell are all those women from the 1970s burning their bras in the streets? I'll tell you where they are. They're hiding in their closets. They are afraid to speak out because they don't want to be labeled transphobic. Like I've told you guys before, this is not about transgender rights. It's not about equality, diversity, all those other words they teach you at Woke U. That is not what this is about. They are seeing how far they can push the boundary of what's considered acceptable. Next, they'll be coming for your kids. Just watch. The next Lia Thomas will be at the high school level. I think it's a great idea to allow a teenage boy in the same locker room as teenage girls. What could go wrong? Then it'll be middle school, elementary school. Next thing you know, when you register your child for kindergarten, they'll have 53 genders available for you to choose from. Welcome to Oak Hills Elementary. Is your child gender queer, intersex, non-binary, or gender void? I have a little boy. We do not recognize that gender. Please choose from one of our selections. I just told you I have a little boy. Is he a biological boy or a surgically enhanced boy? I don't know. He's just a boy. So what pronouns does he prefer? I don't think he knows. He's over there digging his pants out of his ass. Now, before we get out of here, I wanted to thank all you guys for the emails on the subscriber milestone. We hit another milestone on the channel last night, over 16,000 subscribers. We've added, I think, 700 new subs in the last week or so alone. Like I told you before, I don't pay to promote the channel. We have grown this thing organically from you guys sharing the videos, liking the videos, commenting on the videos. All of that causes YouTube to push the channel even more. We're averaging over 2 million impressions every week right now on YouTube. That is a direct reflection of the activity from you guys on the channel. So I just wanted to shout you guys out. I appreciate all your support. But let me know what you think. Lia Thomas, allowed to compete, and the over 300 future social justice warriors who signed this letter to support her. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.